let's go! You guys, I'm fired up. We have some spring practice footage to break down. And look, it's not a big deal that Eli Ricks is going to be out for most, if not all, of spring, okay? This gives us the opportunity to look at some of the backups. So today we're going to break that down. Also, we're going to look at some clips from last year and see how Jake Peetz is helping these quarterbacks grow. And speaking of great quarterbacks, a very happy 3-17 to you all. Joe Burrow did something on 3rd and 17 I've never seen a quarterback do, and I'm going to show you that at the end of the video. So go on ahead, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let's get to it. Alrighty, guys, we're going to go through this footage really quickly. Of course, Myles Brennan, as Ed Orgeron says, looks healthy. Once again, these are just drills. I'll go ahead and warn you, this is just practice footage from the first spring practice, so none of this is too deep, okay? But here's Max Johnson going through the drills, and here's TJ Finley going through the drills, and we see Jake Peetz working with the quarterbacks. But it's actually the next drill that I found to be pretty fascinating, and it could be a learning moment for one of these quarterbacks. And this is the first ever throw you've seen Garrett Nussmeier make in an LSU uniform. So this was something Jake Peetz did a lot of with the Carolina Panthers, working on stepping up in the pocket. In fact, there's videos of him doing drills with this very thing. And essentially the point of this drill is to swing this practice dummy to simulate a pass rush. Now this is key right here, TJ Finley working on this very thing, because against Alabama, TJ Finley stepped up in the pocket in a very similar fashion such as this one, and he held the football too low with one hand, and it allowed the Alabama player to strip it, and lucky enough LSU was able to recover it. So here's Myles Brennan going through this very drill. This was something he also struggled with. He improved in the Vanderbilt game stepping up in the pocket. It showed in the film studies we did at the time. It was something that Russ Callaway worked with Myles Brennan on, and it's good to see LSU doing the same thing here. Something else to keep in mind is Max Johnson is left-handed, so, going through these drills is different from him compared to the other quarterbacks. Here's Andre Anthony and Cole Taylor. Andre Anthony liked a tweet that I did yesterday, and I kind of freaked out because I love watching this guy play. Obviously, the size, the speed, the athleticism, but off the field, a great leader. And here's Cole Taylor. So, really good stuff there going through these drills. Now, it's weird that I did not think this linebacker drill would be the thing that I would take the most data from. But this is the most interesting aspect of any of the footage, okay? Now, we're going to break through this. I feel like I'm Zapruder filming something that is not all that important, but there are a few takeaways here. Yesterday in a live stream, there was a lot of you that said Damon Clark should be stripped of his number 18 uniform. I disagree. I think he deserves to keep it. It's more about what you do off the field. That's what the point of the number 18 uniform is. Did he have the season we expected him to? No, but he was playing a completely new role. The year before, he was a situational pass rusher for Dave Aranda. So, look, give this guy a new coach, Blake Baker, who, I'll keep pointing this out. He said that the linebackers played with some poor technique last year. Maybe it just takes a new linebacker coach to help Damon Clark become the player that he needs to be. This is pretty interesting as well. Jared Small's the first in line to take these traditional linebacker drills. And Jared Small, Catholic High, Baton Rouge, he just heard that great speech from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. By the way, I think it's great that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was there to speak to the team the first day of practice. I thought that was just awesome, and that clip that LSU released gave me chills. So I always cheer for local kids that love LSU through and through and are trying their best. With all due respects to Jared Small, he will not be the starting linebacker. And if you're Mike Jones, even though you're not in spring football yet, you should feel pretty comfortable that, you can look at this and say, guy, I can really play right away. And I do think Mike Jones and Micah Baskerville will be the 2 starters at these linebacker spots. Some of you are high on Bug Strong. Look, he comes from the JUCO ranks. It's going to take a while for him to get used to the speed of everything just being faster. You notice in this drill, he is the only one with his hands on his hips, which is normally a sign of fatigue. Once again, don't take too much away from it. It is the first day of spring. I'm not saying he's out of shape. It's just an observation. I do think Bug Strong could be a very good player. Reminds me of Ryan Baker wearing that number 22. And we're going to keep this thing rolling here. Once again, these are just individual drills. Now, the biggest takeaway here is this. Antoine Sampa towards the back of the line in these drills. Now, Aaron Benfield from Lafitte, Louisiana, E.D. White Catholic High School. I always say this. I cheer for the walk-ons, like with Jared Small. But what coaches take a mental note of is, are you the first one in line to do drills? Are you the second one in line to do drills? Antoine Sampa is towards the back of the line. Okay? Once again, it's not that deep. Sony Fanua, he normally plays end or an edge player. Very interesting to see him getting some work here at linebacker. I like Sony Fanua a lot. I really do. From Salt Lake City, Utah. Darren Evans getting some work here with Daronte Jones. Good to see Daronte. He's looking good, man. Cam Lewis was a guy that played a lot more in 2019 than what you would expect. He played some snaps at safety versus Clemson and Alabama. He's a senior. This is his year. And there's a hole at safety who a lot of you think Derek Davis is going to take that role. There he is right there with Todd Harris getting some snaps. Here's our guy, Cordell Flott, looking for a big bounce-back year for him. Number 28, I have to look his name up. I forget it. Number 28 is Lloyd Cole from Bossier City, North L.A. Stand up. There's Derek Stingley. It's always good to see an All-American going through the drills hard. I like to see that, baby. And Darren Evans again. Jay Ward slipped a little bit there. And this is Ray Darius Jones. And I want you to look at this, okay? If you looked at this guy for the first time, you'd be like, wow, Eric Gilbert's back with LSU. Look at how huge this player is. This is Dwight McGlothern. Look at this guy. Look at the bicep on that young man. Love it. Could he be a guy that we look at playing safety next season? All right. Myles Brennan going through the drill here. Number 44. He's listed as a outside linebacker. I'm guessing that's Dylan Thompson. Number 30, another walk-on here, Jack Mashburn from Mandeville. And this becomes a Jack Mashburn highlight tape. Here he is again. Good hands catch, baby. Love it. Jure. Be ready, guys. Jure is your solid number 2 receiver. Let's go, Jure. Here's Alex Adams. 1 catch for 6 yards last year, but didn't really get a chance to play. I'd be very interested to see Alex Adams get some snaps next season. Now, this is interesting. This was the very route that Max Johnson missed Trey Palmer on. It was the first or second drive against Ole Miss, and we'll get to you, Maason Smith, in just a second. First or second drive against Ole Miss. Max Johnson had Trey Palmer wide open on an option route over the middle. This is also good seeing Max Johnson getting some work, looking left and throwing right, albeit there's no rush, there's no defense to run. But this is good getting that connection going because it was open versus Ole Miss. Now, I know I get so many comments about Trey Palmer, and he was one of the many players in our tweener video. And if you want to watch our tweener spring preview down below, along with our Maason Smith first ever number 0 videos, you could watch those down below. You know, Trey Palmer is interesting. I hope he breaks out. led the team in drop percentage last year, though. So we'll see if he's more than just a kickoff returner. Maason Smith, he just looks the part. He really does. And by all accounts, he's really putting in the work off the field, which is very good to see from a true freshman. I think he's special. I think he's a real deal. And I like Ed Orgeron coaching up the defensive tackles while Andre Anthony is working with the defensive ends. Very good use of both of their strengths. It here's Neil Farrell with Glenn Logan and Maason Smith. Andre Carter working with the ends. And what you're going to see here, and I'm not playing the audio, Andre Carter going through saying, no wasted movement. Him and B.J. Ojulari could be a dangerous coaching player duo. Ojulari has double-digit sack potential. He's special. Here's Ali Gay. I believe this is Jarrell Cherry. Philip Webb. You get to see Philip Webb working with the defensive ends. Carvis was right, one of our viewers. Philip Webb getting some work in with the D ends. I think they're trying to figure out if they could play him at outside linebacker. There's a bigger need at outside linebacker than defensive end, but still pretty good to see Philip Webb still out there potentially getting some snaps. All right, we get to the offensive line here. Obviously, this is Ed Ingram. Let's go through it. Jason Hines, Cardell Thomas, Liam Shanahan, Charles Turner back here. And there we go. 71. Who's 71? I think that's Xavier Hill. 77 back there, Marlon Martinez. Here's Charles Turner back here again. And there's Big Liam. What's up, baby? Cam Wire right here. Dare Rosenthal in the background. Good to see these offensive linemen getting in this work. James Craig coaching them up. I like that they have camcorder guy right here. And this is probably for coaches' film. And this is James Craig coaching up Cardell Thomas right here. So Cardell putting in the work. I get so many comments about Cardell Thomas. And last but certainly not least, the great Kev Falk. It's just so crazy to see an LSU legend coaching. I just think that's so cool. And he's got a big decision to make with this player, Kevontre Bradford. He's got the most to gain during spring. So Ed Orgeron did the interview yesterday with 104.5, and if you watched the live stream yesterday, we touched on this for quite some time. Look, this is a big spring because Armani Goodwin and Corey Conner are coming in, and Orgeron and Kev Falk love those two guys. He also said TDP and John Emery need to step up, so we'll see. It is a happy 3-17 day. Of course, the famous 3rd and 17 play versus Texas, and obviously, this is one of the lasting images, a disgusted Matthew McConaughey right after the play was over. So, obviously, LSU did get the 2-point conversion to make it 45-31. What was very fascinating about the play is that, yes, the catch from Justin Jefferson was incredible. Yes, the pass protection. Coming out of that timeout, Texas decided to house blitz on 3rd and 17, and the LSU pass protection communicated and picked it all up pretty well, all things considered. But the most amazing thing about that Joe Burrow throw is that he did something I've never seen a quarterback do, was he jumped into a defensive tackle to create just that little extra bit of time for Justin Jefferson to get open. I've never seen that. I've never seen a quarterback, and that was the funny thing. The Texas defensive tackle getting blocked by Lloyd Cushenberry was getting dominated. And because of that, Joe Burrow decided to jump into him. And I think the reason why is because of two things. The first is, obviously, it gave Justin Jefferson just that little bit of extra time to separate, but also because he was trying to make sure his right arm was free. And what I mean by that is whenever a blitz comes and, even if it gets picked up, there's still going to be push. There's still going to be push from players coming on that blitz. And the reason why he jumped into a guy is to create extra room for his arm to make sure it didn't get hit. So it just created a little extra bit of separation from potential other players swiping his arm. I know that's kind of weird to explain, but that could have been another reason why Joe Burrow jumped into a player. That is still the craziest thing about that play. And look, I know I've seen all these brackets where who's the greatest SEC quarterback of all time. I know my buddy Chris at Saturday Down South is doing that right now. And of course, biased us would say Joe Burrow. But if it comes down to a single season, the only person that touches Joe Burrow is Cam Newton. And, I just think that's a fact. I don't think there's really much debate. I think those two are on a different level than pretty much anyone else that you can mention when it comes to the greatest single-season SEC quarterback of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know there could be some nasty weather coming, but still, I hope you guys stay safe. Don't forget live streams Tuesdays and Saturdays. All right? It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! Boom! I really want to do lo mein tonight. I know we did tuna steaks, but I want some lo mein. Some noodles. Give me some of them noodles.